One of the things we might want to do to add polish to our games is so when we hit the play button, or even just launch the game when we export it, that it doesn't immediately load us into just a playable scene. We all want to put a title screen in place, and this could be for a couple of reasons. One of those is to add a level select, add a way to get into the options, or even just quit the game. Now, fortunately for us, it's pretty easy to do so, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. To start off, we'll need to create another scene, and in this case, our root node is just going to be a user interface, and this will be a 2D node that's going to allow us to put UI elements on it a little bit easier. I'll start off, and we'll just rename this to menu or main menu. In this case, I'll use menu main just to keep a naming scheme throughout. Now, inside of this menu name, we'll add another node, and we'll use a VBox container, and this is just going to contain our items or our buttons that we're going to add in a second, and arrange them vertically, so I don't have to worry too much about the layout of my buttons, so I can create that. Now, underneath this VBox container, I'll add additional nodes, and we'll add some buttons. And I'm going to add 3 of these here, so we have something to play with. Now, this first button is going to be our play button. Second one, we'll go to the options, which in our case is not going to do anything at this moment. And then the third one is going to be the quit button. So we can have a button for play, for options, and for quit. Now to make these actually show up with what they have, over in the text for each button, over on the right-hand side, we're going to add the name of it. So that way it's going to show play, options, and in this case, the last one, quit game. Now I can resize these, and I can just grab the VBox container and then resize it, and it'll make these a little bit bigger for us. At this point, I can save my scene, and I'll stick it in my scenes folder with the rest of them. And then I go to play this. We'll have our buttons. I can click on them, but they're not going to do anything. And for that, we'll need to add a script to this menu main or our main menu scene. So inside of my menu main or my main menu scene, I'll right-click and attach a script. Now we'll leave the default, make sure it's GD script, and we'll leave the default path. So I'll just stick it in with my scenes in that folder, and I'll create this. Now for this instance, we don't actually need a ready or a process function, so we can delete those. But what we do need is a function for when our buttons are pressed. So I'll select my play button over on the left-hand side inside of my scene tree. Then for the node, we can connect that pressed function. And we're going to connect it to our main menu script or the menu main script. So now inside of this script, on play pressed, it will do something for us. And just so we can see that in action, I can print something, and we'll print success here. And now when I play this scene, we press play. Down here in my output, it's going to say success, and I can press that over and over again, and that's going to trigger it. So now we can actually add some sort of intelligence to this. Like I mentioned, to get this function to do what we want, and that's going to be loading our beginning world scene, the one with our player and some climbable objects on it, we'll edit our onPlay function. We'll get rid of this print, and I'll replace that with a line of text, and that's going to be getTree.changeSceneToFile. Now we need to actually specify what scene we want to change to. So inside of my file system down on the bottom left, I'll grab my beginning world scene, and I'll just put that inside of that change scene to file as an argument. And I'll get rid of my pass as well. So now this time when I go to run the current scene, run my main menu, and I hit play, it'll load us into our world, and I can start to move around and basically interact with it as if I loaded up that beginning scene from the start. Now, if you remember, we have 2 other buttons here, and I mentioned that the options button won't do anything for us right now. We'll deal with that later, but we want to put a way to easily quit back to our desktop or wherever we're going to go to outside of the game. So I'll select my quit button over in my scene tree, and then similarly, we'll go to that pressed signal, and I'll connect that to my main menu script. So now inside of here, we'll just put one single line of text as well. Going to be getTree.quit for us. And when I hit play this time, again, we know that play is going to do what we want. And if we hit quit game, Well, that removes us out of the game and kicks us back to our desktop. Now, the last thing we're going to want to do, just to make sure that every time we run our project that we load directly into that main menu, is if we go up to our project and project settings, and then under the application section, we have run, and that'll show us the main scene. Now, what we could do is manually type in the directory of where to find the scene we want, but we can also browse to it and just select that menu main or our main menu scene. And when we close this out, now, when we just run our project, it'll bring us directly into that main menu where we can then, again, hit play to go directly in or quit to quit out of our game. So what we were able to do pretty quickly is create a basic main menu. And we'll use the word basic here because there's a lot that we can do that we'll cover in a future video, but it's pretty easy to continue to add elements in the 2D, change the colors, change the fonts and things how they look, and get ourselves a pretty main menu.